morning, folks. Here we are trackside at Evansville, Indiana. This week's Saturday edited video, I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite railfan spots around the Evansville, Indiana and the Ram, Indiana area. Unfortunately, I probably going to have to use some file footage from the Ram area because the Ohio River has overflown its banks and it's all flooded going back into Ram, so I won't be able to catch anything back there. The train you just saw leaving was M513, and he's headed south here on the Henderson subdivision. Hal Yards is the main CSX yard here in Evansville, Indiana. So I'll be showing you some of my favorite spots in and around Evansville and around the yard, of course. And I hope you enjoy this new format, and we'll catch another train here before we depart and move on to another location. Got a yard job making a move out of Howell here currently at Hybrid. Down the way there is B796. He's waiting to come into the yard here. That scanner traffic is from down south. Typically when I'm railfanning in Evansville, or in Henderson, anywhere north, I listen to the Henderson subdivision Broadcastify feed, which is run by Steve Miller down in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. It typically covers between down around Pembroke, Kentucky, up to around Crofton, Kentucky. This gives me a chance to know that there's trains headed up this way. You can find a link to that feed at the, you can find the address to that feed a little bit further at the end of this video. This is currently a crew change point for the intermodals that run up and down between Chicago and Florida. This is IO-25 as it comes into the yard. It'll go down to Newburgh Road where it's at the south end, location known as Hybrid, where it will do a crew change before heading on south on the Henderson subdivision. Howell Yard is also the northern terminus for the Henderson subdivision, which runs between Nashville and Tennessee and Evansville, Indiana. The yard is fairly easy to rail fan, as there's public access all around it, and an overpass on the south end, which is where these shots that you're viewing now were taken from. To the south of the yard, only by a few miles, is the viaduct over the Ohio River into Kentucky, which is a very popular spot for rail fans. And the location is called Ram on Google Maps, if you'd like to go there sometime and do some rail fanning. This is the south end of the yard we just saw, and they're finishing up a crew change here at the signals at Hybrid, as this location is known. This is at Newbern Road. About 15 miles to the, well, I'm sorry, let me back up for a second. The viaduct is very popular because it's over a floodplain, and it's a long, gradual climb up to the bridge over the Ohio River into Henderson, Kentucky. You probably have seen various videos and still photos that I've shot at Ram. And today it continues to be one of my favorite spots to rail fan on the Henderson subdivision. About 15 miles to the north of Evansville, Howell Yard, is Princeton, Indiana, where the Norfolk Southern's east-west district crosses over the CSX line. Another excellent location for rail fanning. About 10 miles to the west of Howell is Evansville Western's headquarters, and they have a local that comes into Howell Yard daily, as well as toll trains back and forth as needed. And if you're ever rail fanning Howell, you need to make sure you spend some time, budget in some time rather, and go down to Mount Vernon, Indiana, and catch some of the Evansville Western operation. That's a regional rail line that belongs to the Paducah and Louisville Railway. Many folks have asked me what kind of gear I use whenever I'm shooting my videos, and 99.9% of all my videos are shot with an iPhone 14 Pro. It has excellent image stabilization built into it, and it's my favorite shooting platform for videos. I love how you can zoom in and portability of it. I will add that I've also got a shotgun microphone that I use on the iPhone whenever I'm videotaping or video shooting, whatever it is these days. I like to mix up my shots by zooming in and out, showing different angles as the train passes by, to make it a little bit more interesting for viewers. you're looking at IO-25 here, it is headed south towards Ram and on down to Henderson subdivision towards Nashville. My video editing software is Adobe Premiere Pro. Unless I'm editing on the iPhone. And if I'm editing on the iPhone, I use Adobe Rush software. Now we catch the Evansville Western pulling into the north end of Howell Yard to do its daily exchange. Find our next train is the hot intermodal IO-28 as it passes through the signals at Broadway, location known as Broadway and Howell Yard. They'll do a crew change here, but I opted to go ahead and get set up at a crossing where they lead out of the yard and continue on north, as I wanted to set up for some drone shots. And the folks at Howell don't particularly like you flying over their yard, so I typically stay either to the north or the south of the yard for drone shooting. Here we see IO-28 as it starts its run out of the yard after doing a crew change. The facility over to the left is the engine servicing facility. The tower is down midway in the yard. You can just kind of see the top of it over the train off in the distance there. The track off to the right there is the Evansville Western line. It sees probably on average 2 or 3 trains a day, I think. One local back and forth each way, and then it also sees at least 1 or 2 coal trains a day, because Evansville Western takes CSX coal trains out that way and loads them at a mine out there. This shot shows I-28 as it heads north into Evansville, Indiana, and on north up to Mount Leonard, and to its ultimate destination up and around Chicago. According to my list, I-28 runs from Fairburn, Georgia, which is down around Atlanta, to Bedford Park, Illinois. I-25 that we saw earlier, I'm told, runs between Bedford Park and Jacksonville, Florida. The other two intermodals that run up and down this line is I-26 and I-29. And they run the opposite of their counterparts, 25 and 28. Signals here are called the North Howl, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The drone I fly is the DJI Air 2S, in case anybody's wondering and didn't know that. I've flown the Mini before, but I eventually sold it and bought the Air 2S, and I've been pretty happy with it. As you can tell, I really like zooming in and getting different perspectives on train videos. I think it makes the video much more interesting. This is a yard job that was working on building trains here at Howell. I understand they don't do that a lot anymore, but they do some. I thought I'd show you a little bit of different yard jobs working. Here's a closer shot showing the administrative offices and the service facility at the north end of Howell. There is a highway that goes all the way around the yard, or roads, that make it fairly easy to rail fan without getting on their property. Greetings, folks. Here we are at Howell Yard, CSX's Howell Yard in Evansville, Indiana. We got CSX OCS presidential train P001 getting ready to head north through the yard, the rest of the yard, where it'll connect to the Y, and then they'll turn their train and head back south to Nashville, Tennessee, onto the Henderson subdivision and points south. Everybody stay tuned, and hopefully he'll depart here shortly. He was just talking to the dispatcher. All right, here we go. It's train time, folks, as UP Dave would say. The train's hauling 12 cars today, in addition to the 3 units. CSX 1, 2, and 3, if I'm not mistaken. There you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed that short video.
And here we have CSX Q512 as it heads north, approaching the Ohio Street crossing on the Evansville Terminal subdivision. At the left, we find the old chassis caboose that the yard in Howell uses for a shoving platform sometimes. This is typically where they have it parked at here at the crossing. This train is actually about 12,000 feet long, or close to it. I can't remember exactly what the distance was, or the length was it. But I've edited it down to about a 4-minute clip. I find that a 12-minute video of nothing but cars rolling by kind of becomes uninteresting after a while. So I like to keep my videos between 4 and 6 minutes long if I can. Here we see him crossing underneath the Lloyd Expressway in Evansville, as it heads on north. The tracks you see off to the left there that have been newly installed and ballasted are going to be, from what I understand, storage tracks for buried plastics, and Respondex is going to start servicing buried plastics here before long. And this is where they'll stage the cars for CSX to pick up. This video was edited using Adobe Premiere Rush on the Windows computer. The video itself was shot on a DJI Air 2 drone at 4K resolution. The music in the background is free music that's included with the Adobe Rush. I'm trying to work out mixing in voice, actual noise of train, and a little bit of ambient background for voiceover into my videos. It's a little bit more production, but I think it makes for a nicer video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Well, hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Stay safe. If you're out trackside, be careful. And have a blessed day, everyone.